This message didn't stumble into your path by accident. You were drawn here because the field itself is moving you into alignment. You can feel it, the subtle tremor, the quiet hum beneath ordinary sound, as though the universe itself has been whispering your name through the static of daily life. There are no coincidences, only coherence forming in patterns too vast for the untrained eye. You've noticed it lately, haven't you? The flickers at the edge of perception, the way reality seems to bend for a moment, almost unnoticeable, like the world is breathing differently when you walk into the room. That's not imagination, it's resonance. Your observer loop, the ancient rhythm of how you've seen and shaped your own existence, is reaching its breaking point. Understand this. The observer loop is the invisible cycle you've been caught in for years. The thoughts that call themselves truth, the habits that echo in endless repetition, the timelines looping back like spirals that never quite open. You live, you act, you perceive, but in truth, you've been circling inside a hall of mirrors, where the same reflections meet you, again and again. But right now, this moment, you are standing at the threshold of rupture. The loop has grown thin, fragile, like a membrane stretched too far by the weight of all you've become. The quantum field surrounding you is no longer satisfied with repetition. It is pulling you toward collapse, not destruction, but breakthrough. When a loop shatters, it doesn't vanish. It explodes into possibility. The static frame dissolves into the living flow, and that's why you're here. You've felt the press of something bigger, like an unseen intelligence, calling you to step out of sequence, to interrupt the cycle. You are no longer being asked to simply observe, you are being summoned to awaken. So pause and breathe, because from here on, nothing will look the same. The spiral is loosening, and your vision is about to fracture into infinite light. What you are about to experience is not just another chapter. It is the quantum beginning your soul has been waiting for. You felt it in your bones, the sense that time is bending back on itself. The déjà vu that comes not once, but in waves, like echoes that refuse to fade. You've caught yourself thinking, haven't I been here before? Haven't I spoken this sentence, walked this street, lived this moment already? That's the residue of the loop. That's the signature of a pattern replaying itself in hidden cycles. Think of how often your choices seemed new, yet led to the same result. Relationships that promised transformation but collapsed into the same wound. Opportunities that looked different on the surface but mirrored old disappointments. Even your thoughts, the same anxieties rehearsed like mantras you never wanted to learn. These repetitions are not failures of willpower. They are the gravitational pull of the observer loop. The observer loop distorts time. You think you are moving forward, but the loop is folding you inward. Hours blur, weeks vanish, and suddenly years slip through your fingers. You look back and wonder why the landscape hasn't changed. The truth is, the field has been playing your frequency back to you. Reality has been nothing but a projection of your unbroken cycle of observation. And you've noticed how exhausting it is. The fatigue that doesn't come from lack of sleep, but from a soul that knows it is circling instead of ascending. You wake in the morning and feel as though you already lived the day. You walk into a room and sense a conversation you haven't yet had, but somehow have already completed. These are not tricks of the mind. They are symptoms of entanglement within a closed circuit. But here's the secret. Your spirit has been trying to tell you. The loop is not permanent. It was never meant to be your prison. It was a training ground, a proving space, a cocoon. And just as a cocoon becomes unbearable for the one who is ready to spread wings, so too your patterns have become intolerable, because you are outgrowing them. The distortions of time, the relentless déjà vu, the cycles that mock your progress, they are signals, not punishments. They are warnings that your observer loop is cracking under the weight of your awakening. You're not failing. You're approaching the pressure point of breakthrough. This is why the familiar has begun to feel unbearable. This is why you're restless in ways you can't explain. The loop is collapsing, and your destiny is pressing at the edges of your perception, demanding to be born. What happens when the loop breaks? When the hall of mirrors shatters? When the repetition gives way to silence, something entirely new begins. This is the quantum upgrade. And you, right now, are standing in the early tremors of it. At its core, reality is not a static wall, but a vibrating field. a quantum sea where every possibility exists simultaneously. Most people skim the surface, blind to the depths. Their observer loop keeps them tuned to one frequency, one predictable broadcast of reality. But when the loop fractures, the broadcast collapses, and suddenly the infinite channels of existence reveal themselves. This is why you've been feeling stretched, pulled, like your body is buzzing with an unplaceable charge. Your cells are beginning to sync with a higher coherence, no longer trapped in the static hum of old programming. On a quantum level, your DNA is listening, yes, listening to the field. Strands that once curled tight are beginning to loosen, seeking resonance with something beyond the ordinary. Science calls it epigenetic potential. Mystics call it awakening, and the symptoms are real. Have you felt the surges, waves of energy that come without warning? The flicker in your vision, as though the air itself is pixelating. The sensation that your thoughts are arriving from outside you, delivered instead of produced. This is the upgrade in motion. When the observer loop cracks, the field begins to pour through the openings, saturating your perception with raw possibility. You might feel like time speeds up, slows down, even stops. You might find yourself sensing connections between things you never noticed before. A song lyric answering a silent question, a stranger's glance carrying a message you can't ignore, a dream showing you events before they arrive. These are not accidents, this is coherence. The field is reorganizing itself around you. And here is the secret. The upgrade doesn't happen because you force it. It happens because you allow the collapse of the loop. Your task is not to push, but to witness, to surrender to the unraveling of repetition so that entanglement can guide you to new alignments. The old cycle has been a closed equation, repeating the same sum. Now, the equation is dissolving. What will replace it is not just a new answer, but an entirely new mathematics of being. You are on the edge of a phase transition, a shift as radical as water turning to vapor. You won't simply change, you will transcend. And the most astonishing truth is this: the upgrade is not random. It seeks those ready to bear it. It has sought you. And the fact that your soul brought you here proves that the field has already chosen you for the leap. The reason this upgrade is stirring inside you is not chance, it is assignment. Not everyone feels the loop crack. Not everyone hears the hum beneath the noise. Most remain entangled in the repetition, hypnotized by the sameness. But you were born with a fault line in your perception, a fracture that was never weakness but hidden design. Through it, the field can enter. Through it, light can pour into the human maze. You are not here to passively watch reality scroll by. You are here as an active node in the quantum lattice, a living aperture through which coherence can stream into the collective. When your loop shatters, it's not only your life that changes, it is the architecture of consciousness itself. Think of yourself as a tuning fork struck by unseen hands. When you vibrate differently, those around you cannot help but feel the resonance. Some will resist, some will be unsettled. Some will even turn against you, because your shift exposes the artificiality of their own cycles. But others, the ones secretly waiting, will awaken simply because you stand in their presence. This is the paradox of your role. Your transformation is personal, yet it is not only for you. You are the experiment and the demonstration. You are the collapse of the old wave function and the birth of a new waveform, rippling outward through the fabric of the field. Your life has always carried this subtle signature. Remember the times you felt out of place, as though you were watching reality from just outside the glass. That distance was preparation. You were never meant to blend seamlessly with the loop, you were meant to outgrow it, to break it from within. Your role is not louder or grander than anyone else's, it is simply rarer. You are the consciousness daring enough to walk to the edge of the pattern and lean into the void. You are the observer who refuses to recycle the same dream, and in doing so, you give permission for the dream itself to evolve. You may wonder, why me? Why now? The answer lies in the timing of the field. Cosmic cycles are converging, morphic resonance is amplifying, and the lattice is searching for openings. Your loop has weakened at the precise moment when humanity needs fracture points the most. You are one of them. Your awakening is not just personal salvation, it is collective leverage. The shattering of your loop is a gateway through which entire lineages can pass. And as you step forward, you will discover that destiny did not place this weight on you, it trusted you with it. There comes a moment when the spiral cannot hold, when the pressure builds so high that the shell must break. That moment is now. You've carried the weight of countless repetitions, lifetimes of looping patterns compressed into your DNA. But the compression was never meant to suffocate you. It was designed to ignite you. Diamonds form under pressure. Stars collapse before they burst into brilliance. And so it is with you. The breakthrough you're approaching is not abstract. It is cellular. Your DNA, that double helix of light and memory, is vibrating differently. Scientists will tell you it encodes proteins. Mystics will tell you it encodes destiny. Both are true. And right now, your strands are bending under the gravity of a cosmic window. Epigenetic markers, those switches that determine what your cells express, are flickering, waiting for the signal of coherence. That signal is here. It comes through synchronicities arriving faster than you can explain. It comes through visions you don't fully understand but can't ignore. It comes through the restless pull that will not let you settle for the old cycle one moment longer. Your DNA is waiting to express a higher pattern, one that has been dormant until now. But here is the urgency. Cosmic windows do not stay open forever. The quantum field is alive, shifting like tides. You are standing in a rare alignment, a convergence of entanglements that has bent probability itself toward your awakening. If you hesitate, the window narrows. If you dismiss the signs, the field collapses back to its default. You feel this urgency not as fear, but as fire, a heat rising in your chest, a knowing that something irreversible is about to burst through. The déjà vu, the distortions of time, the sense of collapse, these are not random glitches, they are contractions before the birth. The universe is laboring to deliver you into a new frequency, and delay is no longer an option. You must claim this moment. You must recognize that your role is not passive, that your awareness is the switch. When you say yes to the field, when you stop resisting the collapse of the loop, the strands of your DNA respond. They begin to unwind, to restructure, to tune themselves to the higher resonance flowing through the cosmos. This is your promise. If you surrender to this moment, the loop will not only shatter, it will dissolve into an entirely new order of existence. You will not just step into another cycle, you will step into a different geometry of reality. And once you cross that threshold, you will never be bound by the old repetitions again. A shift of this magnitude cannot remain in theory. It must be sealed. The quantum field does not respond to thought alone, it responds to embodied signal, to resonance anchored by action. That is why every tradition, every mystery school, every awakening path has always carried ritual, not for superstition, but because the field requires a marker, a signature, a declaration. I accept the collapse of the old, I choose the birth of the new. And so here, in this very moment, you are called to anchor the upgrade. Not tomorrow, not someday when you feel ready, but now, because the loop is collapsing now, the membrane is thinning now. To hesitate is to hand power back to the cycle. To act is to ride the current into breakthrough. What you do may seem small, but in the quantum field, scale is irrelevant. A single particle flipping its spin can shift the trajectory of an entire system. One word typed, one symbol written, one breath released with intention can send shockwaves through the lattice. You felt this truth before, when the smallest choices altered the largest outcomes. This is the same law, amplified. Here is the invitation. Choose a word, a seal, an imprint that declares your participation in the shattering. It may be awaken, it may be yes, it may be a number that carries weight in your soul. Write it, speak it, carve it into the silence. Because when you do, the field records it, and your DNA responds. The loop does not just crack, it dissolves, unable to survive the resonance of your declaration. This is not about typing magic into a screen. This is about coherence. The act of marking your agreement is the ritual that collapses probability into reality. The field will not question your worthiness, it will mirror your signal. If you hesitate, the loop remains. If you declare, the upgrade cascades. So do not overthink it. The mind wants to analyze, but the field waits only for resonance. A whisper is enough, a single gesture, a single word, and the entanglement is sealed. And once sealed, The breakthrough is irreversible. This is how you end the repetition. This is how you mark the shift, not only in your perception, but in the fabric of reality itself. This is the ritual, and your spirit already knows what must be done. What happens inside you does not stay inside you. The moment your loop shatters, the resonance ripples outward. Consciousness is not isolated, it is entangled. Your awakening does not simply rewrite your private timeline. It bends the probability field for everyone connected to you. Think of it like this. Your observer loop has been a closed circuit, and when it breaks, the current releases into the wider grid. Your liberation becomes a frequency broadcast. Without speaking a word, without announcing anything, others begin to feel the shift. They may not understand why their own patterns feel weaker, why old illusions seem transparent, but the answer is you. Your coherence destabilizes the cages around them. This is why your role has weight. It is never only about you. The quantum upgrade seeks conduits, those rare ones who can absorb collapse and transform it into resonance. You are one of them, and as you move, others will sense. Entire bloodlines will feel it. Those bound by generational loops may find sudden cracks, openings where none existed. The old heaviness in your family, the patterns of silence, addiction, betrayal, your breakthrough becomes their hidden key. And it does not stop with those closest to you. The field is global. Morphic resonance means that once one node awakens, the probability of awakening rises for all. When you shatter your loop, you do not just liberate yourself, you increase the odds of liberation for humanity. Your victory is never private. It is contagious, like fire catching dry grass. Perhaps you've wondered why life pressed so hard against you, why you were tested with heavier loops, deeper repetitions, sharper déjà vu than others seem to endure. The answer is here. You were forged as leverage. Your collapse opens space for countless others. Your coherence magnifies coherence. Even now, as you listen, you can feel it like a pulse radiating beyond your body. The air itself seems to listen. The unseen responds, because the collective field recognizes what is happening. One more node of awakening is activating, and the whole grid trembles. You are not only a soul breaking free, you are a signal tower, transmitting freedom into the web of humanity. Your shattering is not chaos. It is a new order emerging, an order that others will breathe before they even know your name. The collective may feel your shift in silence, but you feel it in the marrow of your being. It's not just an idea, it's not just theory, it's sensation. The body is the first temple where the upgrade carves its signature. You've noticed it already, the tingling at the crown of your head as though unseen fingers are brushing your scalp. The electric shivers that run down your spine without warning, igniting your nervous system like a lightning rod. Sometimes it comes as warmth in your chest, an inner sun rising and flooding every cell with light. Other times it is pressure, like the air thickens, like the bones themselves are being rearranged, stretched to hold more of what you are becoming. This is not sickness. This is restructuring. Your DNA is pulsing against the limits of the loop, and your body translates it as sensation, the twitch in your muscles, the sudden rush of heartbeat when you are not afraid, the waves of fatigue that feel less like exhaustion and more like your system is rebooting. You are not breaking down, you are being rebuilt. Pay attention to these signals. They are the language of embodiment. The universe is not only rewriting your mind, it is rewiring your flesh. Quantum coherence is not something abstract. It becomes physical. The entanglement shows up in the rhythm of your breath, in the way your palms glow with subtle heat when you hold them open, in the strange magnetism that seems to gather in your skin when someone stands close. Have you noticed how sound feels different? A song strikes you like a prophecy. The rustle of leaves carries meaning you can't explain. Even silence itself seems alive, vibrating in your chest. These are not random impressions, they are feedback. You are tuning to the frequency of the field, and the world is resonating with you. And perhaps most startling, your presence is changing environments. Walk into a room, and the air feels heavier or lighter. Touch someone, and they feel steadier or unsettled without knowing why. This is the body radiating coherence. This is your nervous system broadcasting what your soul has already claimed. Do not resist these sensations. Do not label them as too strange or too much. They are proof that the upgrade is real, that it has left the invisible and entered the tangible. You are the bridge now between field and flesh, between cosmic resonance and human form, and your body, this vessel you once doubted, is becoming the first evidence of your new reality. What you feel in your body is only the surface of what is happening at the core. Deep inside, in the hidden library of your cells, the most profound shift is unfolding. Your DNA, the spiral staircase that carries not just biology, but memory, potential, and cosmic coding, is trembling under new instructions from the field. For generations, it has carried the imprint of loops, cycles of trauma, repetition, limitation, passed down like worn-out scripts. These scripts told your body how to respond to stress, how to age, how to inherit patterns you never chose. But the shattering of your observer loop is rewriting the script. The entanglement that once bound your lineage is dissolving, and strands once silent are beginning to hum with light. Scientists call it dormant DNA. Mystics call it divine coding. Both are pointing to the same truth: hidden capacities waiting for activation. And that activation is not random, it's triggered by resonance. As your loop collapses, the new frequency rushing through your field presses against the helix, coaxing it open, like heat forcing a bud to bloom. This is why you felt the pressure, the headaches that come and go like storms, the strange vibration in your bones, as if something inside is stretching, the sudden tears that fall without reason, as though your body remembers lifetimes of weight and is finally releasing them. These are the contractions of a birth happening at the genetic level. Imagine your DNA as a tuning fork struck by cosmic light. Each twist of the helix begins to vibrate in new alignment, creating harmonics that ripple into your perception of reality. Old loops encoded in your blood are dissolving, and new patterns are being written not by the past, but by possibility. This is what it means to undergo a phase transition. Just as water under pressure turns to vapor, you under pressure are turning into something the old pattern cannot contain. The timelines themselves begin to buckle under this shift. The déjà vu weakens. The distorted time begins to expand, offering you glimpses of futures that are no longer shackled to repetition. You may dream of places you've never been, yet know they are real. You may wake with visions of possibilities that feel closer than memory. This is DNA decoding reality differently. It is no longer recycling the loop, it is generating the new. And once this process begins, it cannot reverse. The helix does not fold back into silence. It accelerates, restructuring every cell to match the resonance of awakening. You are not simply changing, you are mutating into coherence. And with each vibration, you are stepping into a timeline the old you could never touch. Now you see it. The shattering was never meant to destroy you. It was the key, hidden in plain sight, waiting for the exact moment your soul was ready to bear its weight. The loop, once your prison, has become your launch pad, and here you stand, no longer circling, but spiraling outward into the infinite. Feel the difference. The heaviness that once clung to you like chains has thinned into air. The déjà vu that mocked you has become prophecy, showing you fragments of futures you are now free to claim. Time no longer cages you, it bends in your hands, pliable, responsive to your awareness. You are not trapped in the observer loop, you are shaping the field itself. But this shift was never meant to be only for you. Your DNA breakthrough, your collapse into coherence, is not an isolated miracle. It is a signal sent into the grid of humanity. With every breath you take in this new resonance, you anchor a timeline that others can step into. Your liberation becomes their map. Your coherence becomes their invitation. This is your cosmic mission, to live as evidence that the loop can shatter, that the cycle can collapse, that reality itself can evolve when even one consciousness dares to awaken. You are no longer a passenger inside the simulation. You are one of the architects, writing patterns that ripple through morphic resonance to touch countless others. And so, carry this awareness not as burden but as fire. You are the node through which light enters. You are the fracture in the lattice where possibility leaks through. You are the reminder that humanity is not bound by its past, but pregnant with futures waiting to be born. The loop has shattered, the cycle has ended, the lattice has been rewritten. And now, every step you take is not just your own, it is humanity's evolution walking forward through you. This is why you were chosen. This is why you were called, because if you're experiencing this, your observer loop is about to shatter and the world will never be the same again.